Welcome to Complete BS, the official podcast of couch coaches everywhere. Not just football. It's every sport that ruins your parlay, wrecks your fantasy week, and still brings you back for more. Buzzer beaters, blown leads, and brackets and flames. Yeah, we're all over it. Unfiltered takes, armchair analysis, and enough bold opinions to fill a playbook. Hosted by Brien Schmauch, sports junkie, the Saban of stats, and your official voice of I could coach better than that. Let's go.
Welcome back, Couch Coach Nation. Let's talk Heisman Trophy contenders, the prestigious award in college football. But does the preseason favorite, do they win? It seems like it's been a long time. What do you think, AV?
It's tough to predict. There seems to be a group of quarterbacks specifically and a couple of position players that I believe the Heisman will come out of.
Let's start with who's on everybody's list. He was my preseason All-American quarterback, Cade Klubnik. He's improved every year. I think he takes another step forward. My big concern with him, because when you're talking about the Heisman, so much of it's about the stats. I think Clemson's so good this year that they may be up early in games. And does he accumulate the stats needed to win the Heisman because he's sitting on the bench in the second half?
Yeah, Klubnik will have a solid shot. They're going to win a lot of games. He's going to be the QB1 all season long. And when you get into the playoffs, you win a couple of big games. If he performs, he'll be in the conversation for sure. Speaking of stats, LSU's QB, Garrett Nussmeier, I think he belongs in the conversation because he will put up stats. He's got all-world receivers, tight ends, all the weapons in the world. Last year, he put up really good stats, over 4,000 yards passing, really good QBR. While I'm not sure they're going to be in the playoffs, although I think they could, his stats will get him there.
Nussmeier, he's going to have a strong year. They opened the season, ironically, against Clemson. So Nussmeier and Klubnik are going to go head-to-head. Someone's going to come out of that game with a leg up. They do have a tougher schedule than Clemson. And so with Nussmeier, he's going to have lots of opportunities for big showcase moments. He's going to put up big yards. But does he have the wins to go along with it? LSU could be a playoff contender. They could also be in that 3 to 4 loss range. Nussmeier's got a lot to show for himself.
All right, give me another one. Who else you got?
So I love Lenoris Sellers. He's one of my favorite players this year. He had a solid freshman year, 3,100 total yards, 2,500 passing, 600 plus on the ground. But you always got to wonder when you have that really mobile, athletic quarterback that's running around, does he miss time either in a game? Does he miss an entire game because of an injury? But he's going to have a lot of times to showcase his ability.
We talked about stats being the Heisman key point, but also Heisman-type plays. He's going to make plays that you think that's the best player in the country. They're in the SEC. They have plenty of opportunities for him to have Heisman moments and win big games, but they also have opportunities to lose a lot of games and push him out of it.
Right.
He could be Jaden Daniels-like and lose a few games and still win the Heisman if he puts up big enough numbers. I'll go from Lenoris Sellers to Mr. Arch Manning. Last time I checked, Arch Manning was one of the betting odds favorites to win the Heisman. All the talent in the world, although he hasn't produced much yet. He's super athletic. He comes, the Manning last name. He should be able to throw the ball. They're going to win a lot of games. If he performs well, the media will just jump behind him.
Absolutely. Without a doubt, when you have Manning as your last name, his uncle Peyton was there at the 97 Heisman Trophy presentation that Charles Woodson won. Really high preseason ranking. He's listed as a favorite. They go on the road to Ohio State to start the year. If he performs really well against the defending national champions, he's already probably the favorite. He just takes a bigger chunk out of that. And so he's going to be in there. As long as they keep winning, his name, the media is going to be all over Arch Manning, possible Heisman Trophy winner.
Where do we go from here? Who else you got?
So I like DJ Lagway from Florida. He didn't start the year, but he finished the year as the starter, and he was 6-1 as a starter. He's got a lot of youth at his skill positions. Another sophomore at running back, a lot of sophomores and true freshmen at the wide receiver position. You mentioned how Lenoris Sellers could have those real highlight plays. DJ is another one of those guys that you turn on SportsCenter, their top 10 for a Saturday, and you've got Lagway just uncorking a 60-yard bomb to win the game, or also doing it with his feet. So he's got real highlight potential.
Lagway has every opportunity in front of him to put himself in the Heisman conversation. Their schedule's tough, so if he wins some games, he'll be doing it on the biggest stage. He went 6-1 as a starter, and I think he's going to take a step to get better between his freshman and sophomore year. So if things go the course, DJ Lagway's name will be up there, and Florida will have a really good season.
And I think another quarterback that's being talked about a lot is Penn State's Drew Aller. And with Penn State, they've got a trio of offensive stars with Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, and Katron Allen. And Aller's getting most of the preseason hype for the Heisman, but I think they're going to end up canceling each other out. Singleton and Allen, they both have rushed for over 1,000 yards last year. Aller's going to throw for a lot of yards, even though he's lost his top weapon in Tyler Warren, the tight end there. But there's only so many balls to go around, and I think that they will end up canceling each other out. If it was just one, they would be there. But the fact that the three of them are all on the same team, I think that's going to eliminate that Penn State trio from being able to put up the numbers needed to win a Heisman Trophy.
That's a good point. I think one thing that hurts Aller is he's just not in a sexy enough offense. He hands the ball off a lot. He's productive, and they score points, and they win games. But he's just not making those highlight-type plays. He's not going to lead the nation in any statistic. He's just going to be very good at it all, and the team's going to be very good. So the team makes a run. They beat Ohio State. They go undefeated. He'll be in the conversation. I tend to agree with you. He's a bit of a long shot to win it.
But a running back that could get there, that maybe Singleton and Allen can't, is Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love. I think he's the best running back in the country, but this has kind of turned into a quarterback award. The last Heisman running back was 2015 and Derrick Henry. Last year, Love had 1,100 yards rushing and 17 touchdowns. He's going to need to have a lot more in the rushing yards department, probably close to that 2,000-yard mark, and he might even need to go over 20 touchdowns. It's gone more to the quarterbacks than the running backs. He might also need to have that Heisman moment where he just broke off a long run, he ran over somebody, juked somebody, something along those lines in a big game. Notre Dame's schedule's not that difficult, so he won't have some of those marquee games late in the season. Their schedule's heavy in September, and you typically look for that Heisman moment later in the season.
Jeremiah Love is that type of talent. I don't know that he'll put up the numbers to get there. And while Jeremiah Love is extremely talented, he is not the most talented Jeremiah in the country. So I'm going to move to Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, he's coming in with a little bit of pressure, a lot of hype. The Jeremiah Smith hype train is off the pages because every media personality in the country is saying he's the best wide receiver they've ever seen, and he's exceptional. But one thing that's going to hold him back is who's going to throw him the ball. I am big on the Julian Sand train. I think he will be great. If he starts day one, though, he's a freshman. And are him and Jeremiah Smith going to be on the same page enough to put up Heisman numbers? I don't know. I don't think he has to put up Heisman numbers. I think he'll make a few plays that are so unreal that he'll get the hype behind him. But I'm going to throw Jeremiah Smith on the list. If he shows up in any kind of way, he'll be at the Heisman ceremony at the end of the year.
I think he's going to be in the conversation all the way throughout because he is so electric. What's going to stop him from being the actual winner, even though as a freshman he had 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns, is similar to the ball displacement with Penn State with Aller and Singleton and Allen, is you've also got Carnell Tate and Brandon Ennis as wide receivers for Ohio State. And they've got a new transfer tight end in Max Clare, who will get a lot of touchdown opportunities inside the red zone. So splitting the balls around between all four of those guys will take away some of Jeremiah Smith's chances. He'll have electric plays, but I don't know if he'll have enough volume to be the guy that gets the trophy in the end.
Do you have any other quarterbacks that you might want to throw in the mix?
As a long shot potential, Nebraska's Dylan Raiola. He threw for over 2,800 yards last year, but he's really got to work on his touchdown to interception ratio. Last year, 13 touchdowns to 11 picks. He's year 2 in the system. I think he's going to be a lot more comfortable. If Nebraska can beat Michigan in September, they're going to start the year, I think, 8-0. There's going to be a lot of noise and attention focused on Nebraska, and it's going to be because of Dylan Raiola.
Dylan Raiola was ranked really highly as a prep quarterback coming out, and I wasn't expecting the kind of year he had his freshman year. I thought he would go the normal route and take a year or so to develop, but he really played above my expectations last year. And if he takes another step forward, that's a good kind of long shot pick because he looked good at times last year. If we're going to get into the long shots, I will throw in Ryan Williams, the wide receiver from Alabama. It's hard to say that someone like him would win the Heisman because most people agree that he's not the best wide receiver in the country. But he is going into year 2 of a Kalen DeBoer offense that throws the ball a lot. Ryan Grubb comes over now as the offensive coordinator, who him and DeBoer have a lot of chemistry together as play callers, offensive minds. I think Ryan Williams could put up a lot of numbers this year. And if Alabama wins a lot of games, they lost 3 games last year. Let's say they don't lose 3 games this year and they go undefeated. Might be a big part of it, might be in the conversation.
I think he's got a chance to be in the conversation. I don't see him getting there. In my mind, he's not better than Jeremiah Smith, and Jeremiah Smith has some red flags to his Heisman candidacy. So Ryan Williams is going to need more games like he had last year against Georgia. He started off really strong, and the conversation was, wait, maybe Williams is better than Smith. And then he tailed off a little bit. He's going to need to do it all season long. If you're at Alabama and you're their top offensive weapon, you're going to be in the conversation. Alabama's had a string of Heisman contenders and Heisman winners. So if you're their top option, you can be in the conversation, but I don't know that he gets there to New York.
That's a fair point. If the season had ended after the Georgia game last year when he made that incredible catch and run, he would have won it. Everyone was loving some Ryan Williams. Give me another long shot if you have any.
What about Sam Levitt out at Arizona State? Maybe a forgotten man in the whole conversation. He's only a sophomore, had a really strong year last year. He's somebody that gets his top target back with Jordan Tyson, but they don't have all of these other weapons to really spread the ball around. It's him, it's Tyson. They're going to need Levitt to actually run the ball a little bit too, with Cam Scatterbo being gone. He's going to have some opportunities both with his favorite target, with his legs, and the schedule there, not terribly difficult, but a lot of exciting games in the Big 12. You're going to throw a lot. You're going to score a lot. And I think he's going to have some games that really give him an opportunity to shine.
Every time that a team comes out of nowhere to have the kind of season they did, like Arizona State did last year, I always want to see if they can follow it up. To have a season like that with a young quarterback indicates you probably can follow it up, but they do lose Scatterbo, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of season Sam Levitt has and just how the program does in general with Dillingham.
Do you got a long shot?
The one guy I'll throw into the mix is John Mateer from Oklahoma, the quarterback. He transferred in from Washington State. They're going to throw the ball around. He's talented enough to win some games for them. They went 6-7 last year. Let's say they win 10 or 11 games this year, and he blows up. He had 3,100 yards and 29 touchdowns last year, I think. So if he builds on that in the SEC and they win some games, I could see him being thrown into the conversation. It's a long shot, but someone I think worth noting.
If Oklahoma wins 10 or 11 games, Mateer's in the conversation. One of the things that's going to help him out versus a lot of other transfer quarterbacks is his offensive coordinator, Ben Arbuckle. They both come in from Washington State. So he knows the offense. He knows everything that Arbuckle is thinking, what he wants to see, how he's going to read the defenses based on what that playbook looks like and be able to check into a better play. So he's got a leg up on a lot of other transfers because he really understands what his offensive coordinator is looking for. The early stretch, they've got Michigan, I think, in week 4. They got to start 5-0 because the back end of their schedule is brutal. But he will have opportunities to have Heisman moments, to win big games against ranked teams. If they win 10, 11 games, John Mateer is absolutely in the conversation.
I like it. Now, Brian, give me somebody who's probably not going to be the Heisman winner. And we can all agree they're probably not. But you think they're talented enough that if the world falls in the right place, that they could be in the conversation. A super long shot. Throw a name out there.
Super long shot. This school has won Heisman trophies before, but it's been a long time. Blake Horvath, quarterback from Navy. Last year, he had 2,600 total yards and 30 touchdowns. He's a complete split between throwing the ball and running. They run the triple option, kind of a little different triple option than what you might have been used to with, say, a Nebraska or a Georgia Tech option. But he is explosive. He can do it with his legs. He can mix in the pass. If he hits over 3,000 total yards, he's over that 30 touchdown mark. The big thing for him is the Notre Dame game. He's got to have that Heisman moment in the Notre Dame game, and they have to win it. For Navy to have a Heisman contender, they have to go undefeated, and it's got to be because of him in some big moments. But if he has that moment against Notre Dame and they win, man, wouldn't it be something to tune in to the Heisman Trophy presentation and see Blake Horvath sitting there in his Naval Academy uniform? That would be a story that I think the media would really start picking up and feeding into after a Notre Dame win.
Yeah, that would be unbelievable to see Blake Horvath there representing Navy. So great call, B. I like it. With my super long shots, I'm going to go up to Minnesota, and I'm going to find a two-way player named Coy Parrish and throw him in the mix, because you have to go back to last year to find a two-way player that won the Heisman. Media, fans, we love two-way players. We love players that can make interceptions and score touchdowns. I truly believe Coy Parrish has a chance to be an All-American at safety. He flashed last year. He's a freshman All-American. First or second team All-Americans seems doable for him. Now they're practicing him at wide receiver. If he plays wide receiver and he puts up 10 touchdowns or he puts up some kind of numbers at wide receiver while he's a first team All-American DB, the hype train will take off and Coy Parrish could find himself at the Heisman ceremony. Not predicting it, but it's fun to talk about. He's only a sophomore, so if not this year, then maybe next year.
Okay. I think when we talk about our finalists, a lot of times there's three. The Heisman, there's not a fixed number. They can have three, they can have four. They've had five before, but they've been going to three a lot recently. I do think Jeremiah Smith is somebody that they want to have in the conversation, but he also has the talent there. I see him getting invited. I think Jeremiah Love is that running back. They haven't had a running back that has won it since 2015. Notre Dame's going to run the ball a lot. I see Love getting invited. So that's two spots. I can't imagine that they only invite one quarterback. So I've got four going to New York for the Heisman. Jeremiah Smith, Jeremiah Love, my pick to win it, Cade Klubnik. And then my other one is going to be Garrett Nussmeier, because I think the yards, the stats are going to be there, and he'll be too hard to overlook. So I've got Klubnik, Nussmeier, Love, and Smith. Who do you got in New York?
That's a good list, by the way. Not quite as good as this one.
Okay.
I think Jeremiah Smith will be there without a doubt. I think he's the most talented player in the country. He's in a program and an offense that will highlight that. The media already loves him. So unless things go sideways, Jeremiah Smith is there. I think Garrett Nussmeier will be there because of the stats. Program with some history with the Heisman and that kind of thing. So I put Garrett Nussmeier there. I put Arch Manning there. I have Texas as my number one team in the country. I think they're going to win it all. That largely depends on quarterback play. If Arch Manning plays well, he's going to be on every lead-in show in the country forever. And if we're picking four, then I will throw in DJ Lagway. I think Florida, I hate to say it, but I think they're going to end up in the top 10 this year. And I think DJ Lagway is going to take a step forward from his season last year where he looked like a freshman at times, but you could tell the talent was there. I think by mid-season, he's going to feel in control and everything's going to be slowed down and easy for him, and he's going to look really good.
And your Heisman winner is?
Jeremiah Smith.
And I'm Cade Klubnik. Well, that's everything on the Heisman Trophy. That's who we think. We'll check back in December, and were we right? Were we wrong? You let us know, Couch Coach Nation. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening to Complete BS. Be sure to subscribe, share, and follow us online. And tell us what you think of this episode. Use hashtag CouchCoachNation. and let's keep the conversation going.